Arthur Trace here. We're here at the Comedy and Magic Club with another episode of Behind the Punchlines, or in my particular case, Behind the Magic. How did I first get into stand-up comedy or magic? Well, when I was 8 years old, I think it was the second grade, a teacher assigned me a take-home project, which was learning a magic trick, and it was the classical cups and balls trick, where the ball keeps on appearing or penetrating the cup. And yeah, I just basically made it out of Dixie cups and cotton balls like the text required. And then I performed it for my classmates. And then I just saw, wow, this has the power of affecting people. And I was hooked. What do you love most about making people astonished or laugh? I think I do a little bit about, a bit of both. For me, it's not so much about fooling people. It's about bringing them into my world and showing them how I view the world through these lenses, which is kind of a quirky way, and in a way that kind of catches them off guard and makes them laugh and makes them astonished. And ultimately, what I love the most is that they get kind of caught up in my world and they forget any sort of worries that they may be having before the show. Now, granted, after the show, they're like, oh shit, I have to go to work on Monday. But there you have it. That's the thing I love most. Can you describe a particularly memorable performance or show that stands out in your career? Wow. Yes. I would say, since this is a Comedy and Magic Club, I had the honor of actually performing for Billy Crystal's birthday bash. Now, I'm going to mention another venue, but, I don't think we're really in competition because who can compete with the Comedy and Magic Club, right? But it was at the Hollywood Improv, and Martin Short emceed. And it was 170 of Billy's closest friends, so just imagine all the celebrities in the world. I was sweating bullets because I was the only hired entertainer. Apparently, Billy's a huge fan of magic. And I performed a 20-minute set, and somehow I killed it, and it was such a thrill. I was on cloud 9 all week after that gig. I will never forget it. That was the best gig of my life. Do you prefer performing live or in front of a camera? Live, thank you very much. I mean, especially magic, it needs to be seen live and in person, because that way, people can't say, hey, it's a camera trick, so that's an easy one. Can I describe my process for not writing jokes, but in my case, creating new magic routines? Yeah, I mean, first I have to love it. I have to have an idea that I kind of fall in love with. I mean, there's one idea that I've been working on since 2014. I mean, it's April of 2024, so we're going on 10 years. I got a lot of time on my hands, but I really have to love it because with magic, it's not just about writing the script, it's about creating the props, so engineering them, and there's a trial and error process, and you dump thousands of dollars, but in my case, it's thousands of dollars in equipment or materials that I buy because I manufacture all this stuff myself in my garage. But yeah, you really have to love the idea, because if you don't, you're not going to see through all that hard work and years of commitment to seeing it to the stage. So I start there with falling in love with the idea. And then for me, it's really providing a reason for the audience to care about the magic. Because who cares if there's a magician on stage just fooling you? Nobody likes that, So once again, going back, you gotta bring him into your world. And, if I can get them hooked on an idea, like there's one piece that I do in my show called Invisible Bees, where it's like the invisible man principle, H.G. Wells, if you will. I bring an invisible bee to life, and I just love that. To me, it's just bringing creating beauty with magic. And if you can do that, if you can provide something, a beautiful experience for the audience, that's where my process really starts. And then, I'll test it out on stage, either die a horrible death on stage, or it'll be kind of lukewarm, but ultimately I'll see it through to the end, unless, it's one of those things where I just have to kill it because it's no good, the audience isn't reacting. But usually I'll work through various iterations seeing it through. Have you ever had a magic routine that you thought was hilarious or baffling, but didn't resonate with the audience? How did you handle that disappointment? Yes, going back to creating magic, so many magicians, and maybe comedians do this too, but so many magicians will kill an idea because in the first show, it doesn't get a great reaction. You know, if you really truly love this idea and you're really an artist, then you have to express yourself. And so that idea may not be in the best form, and perhaps that's why I didn't get the reaction, but you gotta tweak it here or there, and you gotta, like I said, you gotta go through various different iterations of it before you really say, okay, this doesn't belong in the show. So many times that has happened to me. Sometimes I keep a routine up to a year in a show, even if it's not getting the best reaction, and I keep tweaking it. One of those routines, back in years ago, I actually won an award at the World Championships of Magic for, but initially that particular piece was a sleight of hand act, and I still perform it from time to time. Usually it closes my performing arts show, my 90-minute show with. But that routine didn't get the best reaction for a couple of years, but I believed in it, so I just saw through it. What's the most unusual or unique location where you've performed magic? Okay, this is an easy one. About a little over 10 years ago, yeah, I've been doing this a long time, a little bit over 10 years ago, I was hired to perform magic for a month in Guangzhou, China, at a brothel.
What? What?
Yeah, at a brothel. Now, mind you, when I was hired to do this contract, they didn't tell me the type of venue exactly. They said it was a karaoke club. So they were telling half-truths because it was a karaoke club. It was one of the biggest in China that had over 90 private rooms. But the twist here is businessmen came into this karaoke club, and then about 100 girls lined up, and they picked out, it was really kind of disgusting, they picked out whoever they wanted to come into that private room with them, to sing karaoke, and afterwards, after their private room sessions, if you will, they could take this person home. But the reason this was a crazy venue is because I had a translator. I was doing close-up magic in this venue, and I had drunk people, drunk businessmen, just touching me like, where's the card, guy? Where's the card? And I didn't speak the native language, and I'm looking at the translator like, help me out here, buddy. And it was just not working out. I will tell you this. One night, towards the end of my contract, I'm performing in one of these private rooms, and one of these drunk gentlemen comes up to me, and I'm not having it. It's the end of the contract. I had enough of this. And I basically, gave him an attitude. The translator whispers to my ear, be nice to these guys. This is the mafia. Yeah. And that was pretty much towards the end of my contract, and thank God it was, because I was ready to get the hell out of there. So, there you go.
How long have you been performing here at the club, at the Comedy Magic Club?
That's a good question. Rich had initially booked me years ago. I was scheduled, and I did. I performed my World Championship award-winning act, the act that took me years to develop, and that was the first act that I performed here. Because I remember he said, we want the comics talk. We want a silent act, aka perform to music to kind of break up the pace, and I performed that. And then I would say that was maybe, I want to say at least 10 years ago. Yeah, so at least 10 years ago. And then off and on, I would come back and perform various stand-up routines, and I do that to this day.
And that's how you met Richard.
I actually met Richard. I hounded him for years. I'm like, get me in. Book me, Richard. Book me. I want to perform here. I knew Tina and Mike Caveney. They're good friends of Mike Lacey. Mm-hmm. They had performed here, and I had heard about, great stories of magicians performing here and how great of a venue was. So I hounded him to book me, and eventually I got the okay. So getting the come over to the couch from Johnny Carson, if you will. So yeah.
So 10 years.
Yeah, about 10 years at least. Yeah.
And how did you feel when you first signed your name?
Oh, we got a video of that, don't we? Yeah, that was great. It was fine. Finally, I got my name on a brick. To be a part of the history of this place. I mean, you look around. I took a picture. Right up there is a picture. I took a picture of the brick right up there. of the brick that Billy McComb signed. For those of you who don't know, Billy McComb was an Irish magician. He was a legend in magic. He passed away, I would say, God, it had to be about 15 years ago. And he signed that brick. It's dated in 2000. Anyway, Billy McComb was a legend, like I said, in magic. So many magicians looked up to him. And you look around here and there's so many legends, comic legends. We won't mention Valentino, the guy who actually exposed all the tricks on the Fox shows. What is his brick doing up there? I think we should paint over it. But anyway, I digress. It felt great to sign this wall.